Hello guys, welcome back to Shapez. In this game we want to mine shapes, paint them, cut them, rotate them, whatever we want, and we want to create a variety of shapes out of those shapes that we mine. The goal is to deliver those shapes into our base right here. Now we've already got a nice little factory set up, some mining facilities, painting some shapes, cutting them up. Right now our goal is to deliver 800 of those blue stars. We're almost there, and the next thing we would like to focus on is creating perhaps other types of shapes. But we are going to need the stacker for that, which we unlock at 800 stars. We need many of those stars to unlock this tier 3 upgrade, which speeds up the extraction. So we might actually want to increase the speed of the production of those stars. We produce those stars right here. And as you see, this part is clogged up because these two painters are really slow. So we might want to speed this up a bit. Now what I have done is basically quadrupled the amount of stars that we are painting right now, simply by copying two of those painters and doing the exact same thing as we do here. So these stars come here and we split them into two, and those halves are split into two again, and then here we join them together again into the original line of stars. We also have these splitters so we can split the colors coming out from our combiner right here. Now we seem to have unlocked another upgrade. We can afford to speed up belts, distributors and tunnels, which we are gonna do right now. And this shape we can't really make just yet. So now we have to wait for the stars to be ready, which should be quite soon. And we got it. Now we've unlocked the stacker. So basically we can either combine sides of shapes together or fuse them together in case there's not enough space to just simply put them next to each other. So here you can see left side of a circle, right side of a circle, and they are simply put next to each other. And these can't be put next to each other because there's not enough space, so they get fused like this. Now this is an incredibly useful tool which we're gonna need to make those weird shapes, which we also need to get this upgrade. So let's see how we can make this shape. So what we can do is cut a star in half, cut a circle in half, then put them together and rotate them. Now I do really believe that we shouldn't touch this because it's working just fine, and we might just want to create a facility somewhere else on the map. So I believe this would be a nice place to start. Here we have stars, circles, green and blue colors. So let's start making this factory. So what I have prepared here is a couple of extractors, extracting paints, a couple of mixers, some painters ready. Those circles are connected to the painters. All we need to do now is connect these green extractors to those painters, and we should have green circles coming out. Then we need to connect those blue paints into some blue painters and paint those stars. In the end, we can simply cut them and combine them. Now these painters are all in place and we are producing green circles. Now we have those star painters ready as well. They are clogged up, but that's alright, we don't need to worry about that. Now let's simply try what we want to do with each of these shapes and see where we can get this. That's just brilliant. So here we are using the left side of the star, right side of the circle, and then we're combining them. So we have this shape, which is exactly the same shape we want, but we want to rotate it actually counterclockwise. And as you see, we are getting the exact shape that we want. Now here we are discarding the other sides from the cutters, which we actually do not want. We want to use these as well, because then we simply have the same shape, just in the opposite direction, mirrored. So we can combine those as well. So let me do just that, and I will see you in a second. So I believe I'm actually done. What I've done is cut each of these shapes in half, those blue stars and those green circles. Then I have connected those two together via these stackers. I've used quite a few tunnels because we would need a lot of crossings of conveyor belts, and after they are all stacked together, they are rotated in the appropriate direction. So some of them need to be rotated clockwise and some counterclockwise. Now all that is left to do is deliver those to our base. Now I'm afraid one conveyor belt won't manage, so we might need to actually join those and have a few conveyor belts in place. I think we might want to tunnel through here and use those 3 ports on the left side. So we come over here, put a tunnel in place, and go straight for one of those ports. Now we have started delivering those shapes. And as you can see, the conveyor belt is quite empty. So actually, since it's taking so long, alright, let's just try balancing those 2 conveyor belts together and see whether they clog up or whether it's going to be just okay. Let's join another one in, because it's obviously clogged up somewhere. Let's probably combine all of those and then perhaps start reducing the amount of conveyor belts that we have. Now we need to let this run for a little bit to see whether the clogging will prevail or whether we have fixed it actually. The thing is that the conveyor belts are quite fast when compared to painting and cutting. So the clogging seems to go away. Have we actually made it? So as you can see, we are producing quite a lot of those shapes that we need. And it's beautiful. It's cleared up. You see there are those space on the conveyor belt, so there's no clogging going on at all, at least in this part. Now obviously there's a lot of clogging going on in this bit, because some of the stackers and painters and splitters are simply not fast enough to deal with the amount of input that they are getting. Eventually we're going to buy some upgrades and speed this all up. So for now I think this speed is adequate and we don't need to worry about some cloggage going on here. Our goal was to reach 1000 of those shapes, and we are nearly there, and it took like a minute. But we do need 3500 of those to unlock this upgrade. We've completed the level and unlocked chained extractor. Let's just see how this chain extractor works. The stars have big spaces between them, so what we can do is actually add to the extractor these two behind it. And that probably doesn't work because this one doesn't know how to stack, so I can just replace it. And now you see it's triple the speed. For now there doesn't really seem to be a need for any of this. But I might just replace these as well, since they aren't clogged up and we actually do want them clogged up in a way. That's excellent. Look at this. This is a factory which produces a ton of those shapes. That's really beautiful. Now what we need next is these shapes to unlock blueprints. Blueprints are needed when we want to select a part of our factory like this and perhaps copy all this or move it somewhere else. For now we can't do it, we need to unlock those blueprints. Let me check the map and see if there are some shapes that do not require as much cutting, because there might actually already be that shape we are going for. Oh, and there it is. This is the shape that we want. We want this shape, we want to paint it blue, and then we want to get a white circle. So what we can do today is simply get those shapes, paint them blue, rotate them in the way we need, and do the white circles next time. Again, we are going to need some blue paint, and what I've learned is that it is perhaps beneficial to go from the end of the process. So let's say this is where we need to end up. What we need is some blue shapes. So here we are going to have 4 lines of those blue shapes coming in, which means we need 4 painters. Now since the painters are like this, we might actually want to go perhaps this way and then go around. So what we need now is a couple of those extractors. Now each of those shapes is going to have to get rotated twice, and it doesn't really matter which direction we're going to rotate it. We are now going to deliver those shapes to the painters. And then we need to deliver the paint. Oh, and we obviously need some space for the conveyor belts which output the material. So again, I messed up here, and what I wanted to do is go from the end of this process. So we need those conveyor belts at the end. And each of those is going to come into one of those balancers. Now as you can see, we're already producing these shapes, and they are the exact shapes that we want. We only need to stack blue circles on top of those. So now to finish up those painters, we need tunnels to get the paint from one side to another. And here we are going to need 2 tunnels because one tunnel wouldn't be long enough, it wouldn't reach. And we have done it. We're producing those shapes out of all of those 4 painters. And next we need those white circles. So what we can do is take those circles here and combine them with blue, green and red right here and have the stacking process here. But we're going to leave that for another time, and for now let's just upgrade this. And this is ridiculous. But I'm glad we still do need those shapes, and we need quite a lot of those, which shouldn't be a problem as we've got really big supply of those coming in from our new factory. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you next time.